Good evening. I'm Hardee County Sheriff Bent Crawford. As we are approaching the most intensive part of the storm, hopefully everyone's in a safe location. After the storm has passed, we ask you to remain sheltered while first responders are assessing the damage, making it safe for our citizens to leave their homes.
Hi, my name is June Judah. I'm the tax roll administrator for the Hardee County Property Appraiser's Office. So before the storm, Kathy, our property appraiser, assigns us each a cell phone and contact with her and let her know that we are able to report for duty to start the damage assessment. After the storm, immediately we were making contact with everyone we could that lived on our road. One of our neighbors was able to get into his property by his John boat to get some of their belongings and check on stuff. And about a week later, we were able to actually go in to our house, and there was still actually water on the floor, and we were able to get some valuables. Within a few days, we were able to come to work, and since we couldn't come to the office because we didn't have any electricity, a few of us reported to semi-missions, which I was one of them, and I was able to help them by doing data entry and also damage assessment for the office to make notes of properties that we needed to assess to help the property owners. So I got to see a lot of the recovery with people joining in, people coming from out of the state, people coming from all over, even neighbors helping neighbors, people.
Water levels are improving in Hardee County. Families are now facing the difficult reality as they return home to assess the damage. ABC Action News reporter Chad Mills went out with two homeowners to see what Ian left them.
As uncomfortable as it is to watch,
this is as far as we've made it since we left Tuesday.
Denise Workman wants you to see this. For the first time since Hurricane Ian hit here.
And it's very hard to see it like this.
She's back in her Zolfo Springs home.
This was our life. You see that wall, that's our children and our grandkids. I've been told all week how everything could be replaced, but we worked so hard to have this.
As Ian passed, the nearby Peace River climbed and climbed to an historic level, sending almost a foot of water into Workman's home, which is high off the ground.
Of course, this was our front room, and
now drying out, the floors are buckling, the smell unbearable.
I feel like this is probably mold and mildew.
The Peace River still both the front and backyards.
It's just unbelievable.
And a feeling of hopelessness is setting in.
It's almost like a death in the family. That's what I would compare it to.
Even seeing it up close, the loss is hard to comprehend. They not only lost their house, they also lost multiple family cars, including this one. Even the house they evacuated to, a family member's home, also flooded during Ian, meaning they had to evacuate twice.
I'm just at a loss for words.
But Workman counts herself fortunate. She has family nearby and a long-term place to stay. Plenty of others here don't have that.
This whole street, they're in shelters right now.
The county says FEMA has arrived, and it's now focused on formulating temporary housing plans for all the people whose homes are now unlivable even after the river recedes.
This was actually at Thanksgiving.
Back at her home,
my daughter-in-law did these for me.
It's hard for Workman to see the big picture, how her little town will ever make a comeback.
I know it can be done, I know it, but I know it's going to take a long time.
For now, all she can do, embrace the verse front and center on her t-shirt, let your faith be bigger than your fear.
We're going to be okay.
In Sulphur Springs, I'm Chad Mills reporting.
Back route. Pick her up. You'll deal her first. Yeah, we got the top here now.
It might be the weekend, but there will be little rest for first responders, linemen, and many homeowners in Hardee County. It is there that water from the Peace River is going down, but it is still very high. ABC Action News reporter Chad Mills is live in Wauchula with what the conditions look like and the widespread recovery efforts that are really taking shape today. Chad?
And we are checking in on how things are shaping up today. We're standing in the fairgrounds in Wauchula. It's kind of become the first responder city here, a massive effort underway, and the person who knows it best is the Sheriff of Hardee County, Ben Crawford. Sheriff, tireless work happening right now, so many people working on fumes. Can you tell me, how do you guys find the strength, the wherewithal to keep going?
Well, right now we've got assets coming in daily as far as to assist the local agencies in doing what needs to be done as far as the assessment of the county, the flooding areas. So just helping other people help, in a situation where nobody's used to. The best part of, people in general, especially Hardee County, comes out to help those to help. And we do have need, and it's working out right now that we're on schedule to doing what we need to do, and every day the mission gets a little larger, of course, but at this time we still receiving assets to assist us, but we're in okay shape.
The other day you told me that you've never seen the Peace River Basin like it was. The river is going down, but you'd never seen it at that level before. Even with the river going down, can you give us kind of a big picture of where we remain countywide in terms of recovery?
Well, countywide today is we're actually flying over areas now that we've only spotted from the air, and now we got boots on the ground in those areas in southeast part of the county. The problems with our areas is the Charlie Creek and the amount of water that fell north of us, and the Peace River, and Horse Creek down in the Limestone area. We're assisting DeSoto County in their northern part of their county in that area for places where they can't get. And again, today the massive influx is on the south part of the county, where the Charlie Creek and the Peace River and the Horse Creek is actually affecting due to floodwater height.
When I was talking to one of your commanders yesterday, he said about estimate here, 80% of the homes have been checked. Do you think that's still about accurate, still some to check?
Yes, and now we're going to start double checking in certain areas. That we can put boots on the ground and go ahead and mark the home if it's not occupied, and then of course if it is occupied, mark it off the list in those communities, and we'll be doing that. It's going to be an extremely slow pace, but it's where we can work now and make sure those individuals are okay. And we're in the process working with EOC to go ahead and get distribution points coming up for those in need. We're in day 3, day 4, frustration, no electricity. Last night, electricity started coming back in the county. You get calls like that, and that's a good thing, and it relieves a little bit of the stress on us to go ahead and get that air conditioned. We've had good weather as far as it being cool, so the air condition and people's stress level hasn't rose, but as it gets hotter and hotter and longer and longer without our basic needs that we take for granted each and every day, we're just wanting people to bear with us and be patient so we can go ahead and make this thing a good thing in the long run.
And finally, you mentioned that this is going to be a long process. We are kind of at Mother Nature's mercy here. The river will not go down overnight, even though it is starting to creep downward. Barricades up throughout the county. Florida Highway Patrol reminded people to obey those barricades because it could be dangerous if not. What else do you need from the people of Hardee County and even people outside? Do you need volunteers?
Oh yes, I mean, and the volunteer process has already started, and we've seen it, and I'm sure it happens in every community, but in Hardee County, the neighbor's going to help the neighbor. There's places where trash is always side of the road where there is no water problem. Yards are being cleaned up. Schools, I've heard, has been combed and cleaned up. They may not open for 2 or 3 weeks or even longer. It's not in my well there, but it's just people coming out. If they have something, skid steers, construction companies, whatever, they can contact the Emergency Operations Center, and of course it will help us out in cleanup and efforts when the water does go down.
And Sheriff also mentioned to us that 9 o'clock curfew. You want people to stay indoors. Really no reason to be out after 9. Sheriff Crawford, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for your time. We know you're busy. Again, Sheriff of Hardee County, Sheriff Van Crawford. We'll send it back to you, Kylie, in the studio.
Jameson Euler, who's live in Wauchula, covering the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. Jameson?
Yeah, Wendy, I'm live here in Hardee County, where you have 18 different national and state agencies using this area behind me here as their coordination site to hit all of the spots that were devastated by Hurricane Ian here in Hardee County. That government response is vital out here, but as I went into the neighborhoods here in Wauchula, I found something just as vital. Church-based groups of volunteers mobilizing just as quickly, going door to door, getting folks back on their feet when they have lost everything.
Yep, so we got a new skylight.
Have you ever wondered if heartache could be wrapped in hope? That is where we found Vicki Sanchez. Her Wauchula home flooded and destroyed. Today being the first day she was finally allowed to come home.
Coming through the back, the water was over my knee. I mean, it was up to my thigh. Coming through the trees and having to climb and go down, and then I don't know how to describe it.
Her backyard of oak trees gone.
My fence, no more.
This was the home where she raised her 6 children. But how do you clean up your life?
I don't know what to do. I don't know where to begin.
When everything is all gone.
It hurts that everything was just wiped from under your feet in a matter of a night.
Then this morning, there was a knock at the door. A dozen volunteers from nearby Bayside Church who shifted gears after serving nearly 10,000 hot meals throughout Hardee County since Friday, along with clothes, shoes, water, and other essentials.
I know what Bayside can do. They've helped people. I know what they can do. When I see the truck coming, I'm like, oh my God, they're really here. I feel bad standing out here talking to you while they're doing all the work.
Some in this neighborhood will tell you Vicki Sanchez could use a little good news.
So I'll be a survivor at this.
The folks in Hardee County have been grateful for the long-term federal and state assistance they are seeing come into town, but they will also tell you it's the local spirit of helping and giving that makes the most short-term immediate need. Neighbors helping neighbors.
Sometimes when you go through a crisis, you can sometimes feel a little bit isolated. Why me versus my neighbor and those kinds of things. And really, we're just going to come, we're going to wrap our arms around you.
And if those hugs are any sort of currency, then Vicki will tell you she is feeling pretty rich today.
Everything I went through, there has to be a God. If there's not, I wouldn't be standing here. I went through too much for there not to be one.
And you're seeing stories like that all over Hardee County today. Earlier today, Governor Ron DeSantis announced the state's first disaster
Okay, let's go. There's a Harley Patrol car out here. Look at this. Yeah, really. Where are they at? It's slowing down over there.
Hi, I'm Morgan Odom with the Mosaic Company. My first reaction after Hurricane Ian was just being in awe of how much devastation took place. So after the storm came through, Mosaic quickly gathered together, and we realized this is our community, this is where we live, this is where our employees live. We've got to stack hands with these folks, and we've got to recover together. It was so inspiring to see our partners like Hardee Help Center, Cutting Edge, Send Me Missions come together so quickly after the storm to help people of Hardee County. We have a partnership with Hardee Help Center that has storm relief funds that they are able to deploy quickly after a storm. We very quickly got with Send Me Missions to get our employees who didn't necessarily live in Hardee County. Our employees just wanted to help, and with this being one of the places that were hit the hardest, we had a CARES Day where we came out and met with Send Me Missions, and our employees were able to provide help to folks all across Hardee County. At Mosaic, we always hope that another disaster doesn't come to this area, but we know that with the partnerships we have
And destruction Hurricane Ian brought with it is endless, but so too is the help that is coming after the storm. Scene after scene, we're seeing our neighbors helping one another, even after they have lost so much of their own. People in Wauchula are a prime example of that. Our Vanessa Ariza caught up with those who are showing humanity is alive and well.
And the diapers can go there.
It's a small army here at the Hardee Help Center in Wauchula.
It's going out so fast.
But a mighty one.
What I always say is Hardee County loves Hardee County, and we do it well. So we tend to take care of each other.
Lori Friars and her team have been working nonstop since Friday. The center has served the community for more than a decade. Its need greater than ever after Ian. As they wait for more government help, it's the community of volunteers who are banding together to help one another through food, clothing, or simply someone just to listen to.
We have an elderly volunteer who he is faithfully coming in every week. He always has. He comes in, he sits in my lobby, and he talks to my homeless guys. Just makes conversation, right? Well, his house is underwater.
The philosophy of neighbor helping neighbor spans outside of Hardee Help Center's walls. Paul Samuel's wife started Send Me Missions more than a decade ago, another nonprofit looking to help. Over the years, they moved into disaster relief.
It's a blessing every time you get to go, because the people you help, assist, they bless you.
Since Ian, he and a team of volunteers have helped people with whatever they need. Monday, they were tasked with putting a tarp on this woman's roof. And that help will continue, proving the human spirit far outweighs what Mother Nature can do. In Wauchula, Vanessa Ariza, ABC Action News.
I'm Rusty Russell.
I'm Kristen Russell, and we're missionaries in the Philippines.
We were part of the team that helped make the dairy project come alive in Hardee County, and I just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve with you there.
And we're praying for your
Hardee County, the road to recovery is a long one. Right now, neighborhoods are still flooded and several major roads are still impassable, but there is still reason for hope.
ABC Action News reporter Chad Mills is live in Zolfo Springs with why neighbors there say, Chad, no matter what, they will get through this.
They will get through this because they have been tested in such a big way before and successfully got through that big test. We'll talk about more on that in just a second. First, though, let me give you an idea of where it is I'm standing. I'm standing on one of those major roads that is impacted right now. This is State Road 64. You're looking east down the road, which you can see still significantly flooded, but this is actually an improvement from where it was just a couple days ago. And this part of the road, this part of 64, actually better than looking west from where I am, because a few miles to my west, the road actually washed out where the bridge used to go over the Peace River. That bridge has been destroyed. After the record-breaking deadly flooding here, Peace River is going down steadily, though. According to data, we should downgrade from what's called a major flood level to a moderate one by this afternoon. According to Hardee County emergency officials, first responders still have a lot on their plates after numerous search and rescue missions in partially submerged RV parks and neighborhoods. There's a new focus this morning. The focus is on three things, really: reestablishing roads, securing temporary housing, and improving cell service and communication systems. It's been a little tricky at times to communicate here in Hardee County. Meanwhile, the National Guard and volunteers are focused on providing people with food and water. One of those volunteers, a local pastor we met a couple days ago, says Hardee County will bounce back.
We will get through this. We covered 4 hurricanes in 2004 and 5. We did Charlie, Francis, and Jean, a hurricane every 2 weeks, and this is only one. We had 4 in 6 weeks. So we made it then, we're gonna make it now. Isn't that right? Come on.
Great spirit of optimism there, and that is the big test. The test in 2004, Charlie, Francis, and Jean, back to back to back. They recovered then. They know they will recover now. As far as power is concerned, 55% of the county still without power, but the county optimistic that many, many more customers will have power restored by the end of the day tomorrow. We were just in the Circle K. It looked like it might have power back. It actually has a big generator, so that's why it has power in this area. But the clerk said that she is optimistic because the word on the street is that many more people will have power over the next 48 hours or so. Guys.
Chad, lots of reasons to feel good here, but the sheriff, even all these days later, we understand, still warning people to stay safe.
Because of roads like this one behind me, you know, there are barricades up for a reason. In just the past few minutes, we actually had someone drive behind the barricade looking in this road, wondering if it was passable. It is not, and it is just one of many roads that are still flooded significantly. The sheriff knows that it's a problem. He's put dirt barricades up in addition to the traditional, sign barricades, hoping that people will obey those barricades, because it really could be a matter of life or death if you go behind a barricade, don't realize that an area is flooded until it's too late. The county also still has a 9 o'clock curfew, which lasts to 6 a.m. each day. That's part of the reason sheriff doesn't want people out on the roads. Still just too dark in too many areas to see potential hazards. Guys.
All right, thank you, Chad. With all that water out there, you never know.
Board of County Commissioners, and my role in the preparedness and response stage for any kind of hurricane that's going to hit our county is to make sure that our essential function staff are prepared and ready to fill their position. In the instance we do get hit, identify resources and needs that our county will need to be able to recover in a streamlined fashion once the hurricane has passed. And that is basically what I did for Hurricane Ian. One of the important lessons learned during Hurricane Ian is you plan for recovery the same moment you plan to activate for any type of event. And although we were heavily impacted and we prepared the best we could, there were many lessons learned from this. And Ian's event will make us all better in our strategic planning for
resources, staffing, needs identified. What can we do to better help our community? My most memorable events during Hurricane Ian is once the storm was over us and our EOC was taking on just as much water inside as it was outside, I communicated with Tallahassee and expressed that need to them. And we identified that the FDEM mobile command trailer would be deployed to Hardee County and set up across the parking lot. And they sent an incident management team of 14 staff in to help Hardee County truly identify needs and recover from experience that type of devastation. So to see outside people come into our county and blend and communicate well with our people here and truly turn it into one team was very heartfelt.
I'm off for 64, like right at 64 and 75.
Get the cowboy yet? How do we get in? Yeah, right there. Let's go car.
Hi, I'm James Simpson. I'm with Hardee County Fire Rescue. I'm the current deputy chief, and I was the interim fire chief, public safety director during Hurricane Ian. I just want to say a huge shout out to everybody for their efforts and responses during the storm. All the first responders that came to the county that resides in the county for helping us and for helping the citizens in the county community. This is where I was for 7 days straight, I think, before I went home, maybe a week and a half, but I spent several months. The other areas of the fire side, the emergency management side, that's not necessarily easy to talk about, especially sitting behind the scenes per se, to make sure that the citizens of Hardee County are adequately covered. Difficult decisions made during Hurricane Ian and other storms, but specifically Ian. We had to hold crews back from responding to incidents during hurricane force winds. It wasn't easy to make that judgment call. I was thankful that other occupants were able to escape the residents during the apartment fires, the other occupants that lost loved ones during the storm. It breaks my heart for anybody to lose their contents, their loved ones. I know God uses us as vessels to serve others, and it's not always easy to be put in these key positions, making decisions on behalf of others. So, but on behalf of not just Hardee County Fire Rescue, but myself too, I'm sorry for people that have lost everything. Just see through that and see God often. On a positive note, we were able to call in many people locally, within the state, within the region, to come help Hardee County. We had EMS strike teams, fire strike teams, other water rescue teams, all the way from Florida, out of state, and even at the national level. We had the Oregon team here, the IMT team, guys from Miami, and just huge assets in Hardee County. The emergency management shelter, the operations that were set up next door. It took a massive effort of a few to come together and establish this for Hardee County, and not just for the people that reside here now, but the people that are going to be impacted in the future with storms. This has rewritten history, and I pray that everybody within the history books appreciates this and learns from our decisions that we made, and that we just continue building upon those and make things better for Hardee County and the visitors alike.
My name is Samantha McMillan and I work for the Hardee County Property Appraiser's Office. During Hurricane Ian, I stayed at my mother's house and we sheltered in place until the storm passed, and we were very blessed with the outcome that we had for our property. After the Hurricane Ian had passed, we were really informed by phone calls because the cell service was very iffy on whether it was going to work or not. House, we didn't have much damage and it was just kind of checking on the neighbors, and then when Kathy called and said this is where we're going to meet up and what date and what time, then we went ahead and met at the office, and then she dispersed us to do the jobs that we needed. So some of the jobs that the property appraiser's office did do was we did do work with the GIS department with the county. We had some of the other employees do damage assessment with the county, and then we had some of the employees that worked with Semi Missions, had volunteered with Semi Missions in the past. So I was tasked with working with Semi Missions during that week after the storm while we were waiting for power to be restored to the office. So the damage that I saw, it was very shocking because really the main hurricane that I had seen prior to that, it was either I was a child or I had come after we had left the state, so seeing it firsthand was very different. And whenever you see that, you kind of don't know how to process that. So whenever I see nowadays how the houses are coming together, we're not seeing the tarps on the roof anymore.
Hey, Hardee County.
Seeing how it is now,
Josh here with the
and what, a year coming up,
hey, how you doing?
it's
I'm
really
Davis,
nice to
and
see how
happy
far
1 year
we've come. I know we have
anniversary.
more to go through, just because it does take time to recover, but just seeing where we are now is actually really good, just because I know that we've had a lot of people help and we had a lot of strength and prosperity trying to get through the storm and recover after it.
Overwhelmed with the way y'all together and helped put the pieces back together after Hurricane Ian, and we're excited to come back and continue to help with the rebuild effort and see how much progress you've made. Stay strong, Hardee. Stay strong. Strong. Strong, Hardee.
Hey, my name is Sarah. I am a Semi Missions board member, and about a year ago, Hurricane Ian made a big impact in my life.
Yeah, my name is Kyle, and I'm also a pastor at a church in Bradenton in the Lakewood Ranch area, Oasis Church, part of the team. And a year ago over there with Hurricane Ian, our church kind of went, just like Semi Missions, into disaster relief. And just a small story about that season for us is our church was trying to actually get out to a church in Arcadia, and State Road 64 was completely wiped out. And they ended up going through Wauchula, and they ended up at Oak Grove Baptist Church with Pastor Jim and met him, and we had gas and stuff. And then that was on a Friday, and the next day I had come through again with our team and come through Wauchula, and I had met the Semi Missions crew and team, and I also met this woman right here. And it led us to that Sunday doing a big cookout for families in the area of Wauchula, and something unique happened.
Yeah, so I think it was almost 100 people from his church came, and I was there telling people what to do, where to go. And as I talked to people from his church, they would go back to him and say, you got to meet this girl, you got to meet this girl.
And I did, but I'm also very shy. But I did have my eye on her, and it's just kind of crazy. But I left that night. I had met her that Saturday and then saw her again Sunday. But I left, and I just felt like the Holy Spirit had really nudged me in my life to got to find out who that girl is. And a week later, we were on a date.
Once I got electricity back
Yeah.
and could take a real hot shower.
And we went out, and June 10th of 2023, both our lives were changed forever. Just from a misdirection on a road, blocked out by water and everything in our church and send me missions in this town, and now we are the Widdens.
And God has been faithful.
Very faithful. And so we're grateful for this season. We're grateful for the recovery of this town. But it has brought two people together that
before the storm,
has
I actually
very much been prayers. I
I
would have never thought it would have happened the way it did, but only God can do that in the midst of tragedy.
Because
So
obviously
we love you, we thank you, and thank you for being a part of our story.
in our house. So we stayed at Stream Song, woke up on the 29th of my birthday, and started seeing the news flooding in that a lot of Hardee County was underwater, including my house. Once I got to my home and saw the extensive damage, and my church family and friends found out, they were very quick to show up and start the process of gutting and removing everything from the house. Overwhelming amount of people came and helped with that entire process, and I showed up to see all of my house out by the road, but also I think 16 people just there ready to hold me and hug me and love me through it, and the support was incredible. So I actually was displaced for 3 months, stayed in 2 different places that were donated to me and my boys to stay. The recovery process, the restoration process didn't start until December because Send-Me Missions was so overwhelmed. But when Send-Me Missions did start to work, they worked hard, they worked fast, and my church was there helping along, as well as many people in the community, and it was incredible and overwhelming to see how much they were able to do in such a short amount of time. Coolest part was my house was ready, keys were given to me on Christmas Eve. So my boys and I were able to spend Christmas in my house. And when I tell you that I walked into the most beautiful house, my house was tremendously better than it was even before the flood. Send-Me Missions, the community, my church, my family, my friends, they all made it absolutely incredible. And now, even to this day, I walk around my house and I'm just amazed that
We are Convoy of Hope from Springfield, Missouri, and it is an honor and privilege to support the recovery efforts for Hardee County after Hurricane Ian.
My name is Sandra Schaffner. After Hurricane Ian, I saw devastation everywhere. There were stories every day about loss and destruction, tragedy everywhere. There were needs of all kinds, food, water, ice, obviously. These needs began being met right away because here in Hardee, we're pretty great and we take care of our own. But there was still a need that wasn't being met, and I wanted to help. So we started a clothing drive, which allowed for people to have clothing, bedding, pillows, blankets, things like that were needed. With that need in true Hardee fashion, we really came together and helped our own, helped each other out. We had clothing donations from as far as Georgia. People from everywhere were coming to help. We had people from Highland County, Polk County, lots of volunteers, and literally a ton of clothing was donated. Something that really touched me through the events after the hurricane were that we had volunteers helping volunteers. There were people who were literally making sure that the volunteers that were helping the community members were being fed. So people were bringing us lunch, and I thought that that was just fantastic. A lot of families, I held and hugged and cried with several of them who were very grateful to have some pillows or blankets given to them and their children. We clothed babies and teens and adults. We sent robes and slippers to the nursing homes and gathered school supplies. And eventually we were even able to get some toys for the kids that were still in shelters or had nothing at all anymore. And that was really, really great. I'd like to thank everyone who helped me with this clothing drive. We had so many people coming to help, organizations, individuals, people from everywhere, especially Maribel, who has a heart of gold, and I was very grateful to get to know during this.
I am Caitlin Southwell, and I work for the Hardee County Property Appraiser's Office. I came in during the recovery phase, so I was helping with taking hurricane damage submissions, which residents could submit online or in person. And then we corresponded with the building department and send munitions to make sure that all of our databases reflected the damage to properties. So that was during the day-to-day, just normal working hours. You would have an influx of residents who would come in and whose homes had been completely destroyed and were not living in them or uninhabitable, which we were able to help them apply for a property tax refund due to that, that damage. So that was, I think, really instrumental in helping give back to those able to live in their homes after Ian. It makes us proud to be part of the community, especially working with Cindy Missions. We were part of Recovery Day and, still working to make sure that our records reflect what's out there. We've seen a lot of progress with people getting back in their homes and able to move back in. There's still damage out there, but I feel like we've made huge strides in progress.
Hi, my name is Caroline.
And seeing that
I work with Tri-County.
We're doing to help our community.
Project Hope. And just a little background. I've lived here my whole life. I've stormed everywhere, every hurricane. This one was a little different. This one hit harder. I was at home. The flooding is what got us, but just being on the helping side of things really mentally stabled me. So the storm hit middle of the night. My house is flooding. Just different things were going on. In the morning we just woke up. I went to go check on family, people I knew immediately, and the devastation was a little different than other hurricanes, I can say that. and just trying to help wherever I could. I can say that I'm very proud of my community, especially the organizations that are here, like Send Me Missions. It's one of my favorites. I volunteered with them before the storm, and I actually am very proud of them and other organizations that are around town that came together and just helped us through all of this, because they have helped me in my own personal life, home. They've been a really, really big part of everything that's going on in my personal life. I am very happy to have my job because it helps me connect in a different way and just help people know that there is help out there. They just need to ask the right people and they will get help.
My name is Charlotte Gaines, and I am with Hardee County Board of County Commissioners. However, whenever the hurricane hit, I was a new resident to the county. I was looking for ways that I could serve, and I moved over from Okeechobee County. And one of the things that we did was, in our church, we were very active and boots on the ground anytime there was anything that occurred. Started reaching out all over Facebook, and I got up on the morning actually of October 8th and was looking after we had rode around and looked at all the devastation about how much work that needed to be done and how many people were suffering. Started looking for nonprofit organizations. That's how I found you, Send Me Missions. And I also found Cutting Edge Ministries. And on the first Saturday of every month, we come together and we pray over the county that we live in. And I'm new to the county, so obviously I don't have any prayer connections yet. But I was determined that we were going to get up and we were going to go and pray. And so it just happened on that morning that Lindsay with Cutting Edge Ministries had responded back to me. And she said, hey, we're down at Pioneer Park today. There's a bunch of nonprofits. We'll be passing out food, and we'll also be praying for people if you'd like to come and join us. So I showed up, and I immediately was greeted by two gentlemen in Hardee County Sheriff's attire, and they stopped me and asked me what I was doing because I obviously didn't have a volunteer badge or anything, and I told them that I was there to pray with Cutting Edge Ministries. And so they asked me who I was, where I was from, and now after being in Hardee for almost a year, I understand why. They want to know about who everybody is and what you're doing in the county. Had no idea that it was Sheriff Crawford and also Manny, and they allowed me to pray with them, and they showed me to Cutting Edge Ministries where I was able to partner with Lindsay and got on the prayer line and prayed for many people that circled through that day. I was actually surprised at the unity. There was a great unity between the different entities. Coming from a small rural county where I grew up, one of the things that I really looked for from a resident standpoint is for it to be like home, and being able to see that, it was great because I know that it builds trust for me as a resident. It built trust for me to know that I could be trusted and know that the people that are in the county and are tasked and here to be the boots on the ground and help with the resources that they would help direct people, and I get to serve in that area, so it was great because we still have people who need us, and as long as if we're not here to serve the people, now I'm on the county side of that, so I see it on a greater measure. We still need a lot of volunteers. I think that after every storm, there's an opportunity for us to be able to improve.
No matter what the situation, the Oregon Fire Service that's what we do. People call for help, and we jump on our trucks and our rigs.
I got the call. I didn't have any hesitation that I would be able to make the trip here.
They had a lot of work to do ahead of them when we got in here, and we came in, they had a lot of operations already set up and running. We just kind of helped fill gaps and kind of plug some of those communication holes that we could find.
There was no power, there was very little phone connectivity except for what they brought in, and it was very, very primitive, and was able to help them get them back on their feet.
We can bring some order and some calmness to the chaos that's going on here.
You know, you see everything from, you know, the destruction and all that to, you know, people getting the services they need to start putting their lives back together and make things better. You know, coming to Hardee County has been a great experience for me personally, and the fact that you meet so many wonderful people while you're out here, and while they're suffering things, it's amazing how they go out of their way to make sure you feel welcome.
The community here is just, they're here for one another. The Hardee County employees that we're working side by side with, they're here from sunup to sundown every day.
That coordinated effort is really rewarding to see how quickly we help them recover and get back to a sense of normalcy. Just feels really good.
It's a first-time experience for me, so to be able to come and help people in another state, in another small community, I'm really excited and really happy to be able to assist them.
I come from a small agency, and at some point in time I am going to have to ask for help to come to us in the event of something major happening.
I've experienced a devastating fire in my district, and it's a relief when you have the team come in to help you get through the process.
Florida's a little bit far away as a neighbor, but it's still great to come down here and help out.
It's an honor, it's a privilege to serve others, and I think everybody on this team is dedicated to that mission of serving, but also trying to make things better.
I'm Pastor Wendell Smith. I'm with Cutting Edge Ministries Food Bank in Zolfo Springs, and we were serving during the hurricane and kept open and served families during the storm as it came. Prior to Ian, we were prepping for the hurricane season, and once the
Hi everyone, this
hit
is
on,
Vince
I think it was
Davila from
Wednesday,
Houston, Texas.
we
And I just
were
want to say that it was an honor and a
discussing
privilege
with
to work
find a
with Send
place
Me
to do
Missions
the
in Hardee
massive
County
distribution.
after Hurricane
So it was not until Friday that we was able to acquire the shopping center, and we were ready to give out food on Saturday morning after the hurricane. But it was a struggle to get that accomplished. But hopefully, as we move forward in the future, we're going to be able to help more families in Hardee County as these disasters would come. As we were there at the shopping center, where our warehouse is, as we were distributing, people were coming through. Some people were crying. Some people were saying thank you. They were so grateful to have the water and initial supplies, because we had been out of power and out of grocery stores since Wednesday, and this was on a Saturday. But the families were very appreciative of us being there to help serve the community. Why did I continue? Cutting Edge Ministries has been on my heart and the Hardee County families for years. Cutting Edge Ministries began actually in 2004 in Hurricane Charlie, and we developed the food bank where we're serving 400 families a week. And when the disasters come, a lot of the networking organizations that we have, we have those connections, but also we have a heart to make sure that families are taken care of, because that's always been my heart, to serve the community here in Hardee County. I can see great progress with the different groups, especially with Send Me Missions and our partnership with them, helping to provide food for the groups that are coming to work in. And I think back over the last year or so, how that I've seen everybody pulling together to make sure our families in Hardee County are taken care of, and that's what drives us to do what we do.